Tonight, I play the role of Kelly's husband. In another life, in another life, I played a role of Alexander Hamilton on Broadway for about 8 years, 2,000 performances. Lin-Manuel Miranda said on my last show, he said, the only person who's been Hamilton than Miguel is the actual guy, Alexander Hamilton himself. So Guinness Book of World Records was at my last show. No, I'm lying. That's not a real thing. That didn't happen. But it was a very amazing milestone for myself and a great journey in the show. But enough about that. Right now, let's have a sing along. We're gonna have a little quick sing along. Has anyone seen Hamilton? Woo! Has anyone not seen Hamilton? Woo! Yeah, come on. Woo! There we go. What'd you do during COVID? It was on Disney Plus. Other things. So listen, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sing this whole song. When I get to your point, I'm gonna point to you and just sing out the next line. Okay? It's very simple, right? It goes like this. Well, the word got around. They said this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world's gonna know your name. Oh, there it is. There it is. Right, it was slow. We're a little slow on the uptake there, so the words we're looking for are, "What's your name, man? What's your name, man?" That was a good rehearsal, right?
Thank you. I couldn't wait my turn.
All right, so that's it. Let's try it again, like Broadway, the dress rehearsal. If it's terrible, the opening night goes great. Here we go. Well, the word got around. They said this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world's gonna know your name. Now we're talking. And then I will say, Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. And there's a million things I haven't done. But just you wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, I imagine that so much it feels more like a memory. When's it gonna get me in my sleep? 7 feet ahead of me. If I see it coming, do I run or do I let it be? Is it like a beat without a melody? See, I never thought I'd live past 20. Where I come from, some get half as many. Ask anybody why we're living fast and we laugh. Reach for a flask, we have to make this moment last, and that's plenty. Scratch that. This is not a moment, it's the movement. We're all the hungriest brothers with something to prove. When foes oppose us, we take an honest stand. We roll like Moses, claiming our promised land. And if we win our independence, is that a guarantee of freedom for our descendants? Or would the blood we shed begin an endless cycle of vengeance and death with no defendants? Let me tell you what I wish I'd known when I was young and dreamed of glory. You have no control who lives, who dies, who tells your story. I know that we can win. I know that greatness lies in you. But remember, from here on in, history has its eyes on you. Whoa, 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 whoa. History has its eyes on you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I'm past patiently waiting. I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every action's an act of creation. I'm laughing in the face of casualties and sorrow. For the first time, I'm thinking past tomorrow, and I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. We gonna rise up, rise. It's time to take a shot. Rise up, rise up. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. Hey, yo, it's time to take a shot, and I am not throwing away my shot. Thank you very much. Now, if you please come in, please come take a seat. Come on down. If you know the music of Hamilton, you know that is not how that song goes. It was actually a mashup of 3 songs: Alexander Hamilton, My Shot, and History Has Its Eyes on You. The name of that song is a ham jam. We're serving ham jam after the show. I'm kidding. But the reason I sing that song is so that you all pay lots of attention. I'm like the shiny object to point you all in the right direction of the reason we're really here to celebrate a years and years and years long journey by an amazing woman who I get to call my wife. So please welcome to this lovely table and chair, Kelly Cervantes.
Thank you, baby. Aww, thank you all for coming out tonight. It means so much to me. It really, really does. Yeah, this book is years in the making. I actually started writing The Luckiest before I wrote my first book, Normal Broken, and but I didn't. The first version of it, I think, was more therapy for me, just to like get all of these different pieces of my life out onto paper. And then the second version I took a stab at after Normal Broken came out, but it's still like the structure of it wasn't gelling. And then I came across a quote from Maggie Smith from her memoir, We Could Make This Place Beautiful. And in that book, she said, we are all nesting dolls carrying the previous versions of ourselves inside of us. And it struck me so deeply because I often think of my life in the different subsections. I could dice my life by the different cities that I've lived in, by the different careers I've held, by the different the compositions of my family. And I see all of those layers, and there are a lot of things that have happened in my life that I wish hadn't of, not least of which my daughter being sick and passing away. But even amidst all of the trauma and the trials and the joy, I get to this place in my life where I am now, and my life is actually quite beautiful. And it has taken me a while to reconcile the hard with the beautiful that I get now. But I also realize that I don't get the beautiful in my life now without everything else that came before. I don't get to appreciate this life. I don't get to be this person. I don't get to look at the world the way that I do without having experienced and gone through all of the previous Kellys to get to this Kelly. And so that was the structure that I ended up landing on for The Luckiest, where every chapter is this different layer of my life that, whether a lesson was learned or it was just like a deep scar tissue is formed, whatever that moment was in my life, it's still created and built and brought me to where I am today. So I'm actually going to read the introduction to the book because I think that sets it up quite well. There we are. Introduction. My favorite day of the year isn't my birthday, Christmas, or any other holiday for that matter. I can't even predict when it will occur. Typically, it's a day in March or April, one of the first days, when I can step outside in a t-shirt or just a light jacket. The sun is shining and my light-deprived skin hungrily absorbs the vitamin D. This is something that happens not in California, where it's cloudy and we have seasons. and when we crave the sun and the sun comes out and you're like, ah. Okay, just for all of you people who are non-Californian, for all of you Californians understand that. Growing up in the Midwest and spending most of my adult years in the Northeast, I know pleasant weather at this time of year is not yet permanent. A late April snowstorm is always possible. A tulip survival is as much a credit to the gardener's skill as the weather's temperament. But that only makes this first sign of spring, this whisper of summer, that much more precious. To indulge in such a day is a privilege I don't take lightly. My fortune at being able to do so only adds to the day's wonder. I began celebrating days like these in my college years in Boston, bucking my rule-following ways to play hooky from class and walk the Freedom Trail or sneak into a game at Fenway Park, which was something you could do before 9/11. They would open up the gates at the Green Monster after the 7th inning, and you could just walk right on in. And then 9/11 happened, and they wouldn't let you do that anymore, and that was very disappointing for my college life, Captain Jack. As my responsibilities have evolved, so have the ways I observe this day. Years have gone by where I barely noticed it at all. Have you been outside today yet? It's beautiful, my husband says, leaning against the door to my office. I look outside at our sun-soaked New Jersey driveway, the first of the perennial wild pansies sprouting at its edges. This will not be one of those years. Anessa, want to go on an adventure to the park? I ask my 4-year-old daughter. We find a path to explore. The creek we walk by is full from the recent rain and lined with trees that are beginning to flower, pink buds dotting their branches. We tiptoe past turtles, necks outstretched toward the sun, and watch red-breasted robins feast on bug buffets amidst the tall grasses. Anessa skips and twirls several feet ahead of me until she comes across a playground in a clearing. Mommy, I've never been to this playground before. She drags me across the wood-chip-strewn ground, as excited as though we'd stumbled upon a secret garden or magical kingdom. The various play structures are crawling with children of all ages, from those just learning to walk to middle schoolers avoiding home and the studies that await them. Most of the adults present are seated on the weathered wooden benches surrounding the playground. Those with younger, less coordinated children are shadowing more closely behind them as they learn to climb, spin, and slide, ready to catch them should they fall. Within minutes, Anessa has found a new best friend and is 2 courses into a tea party. I take a seat on an empty bench within sight of Anessa and work hard to stay in the present. This day is too beautiful, this future memory too sweet, to allow the ghosts and what-ifs of my past to take over my mind. Anessa may never have been to this playground before, but I have. It's been 9 years and a lifetime since I watched my now 11-year-old son toddle through these wood chips. How naively hopeful I had been for a future that was never guaranteed. I close my eyes and ground myself in other sensations. The hard, uneven earth beneath my feet, the slight breeze on my skin, children shouting, swings creaking. Suddenly self-aware, I open my eyes and scan the other mothers and caregivers, wondering what they see in me while reflexively assessing them. Perhaps it's my introspective state, but in each of them, I find a bit of myself. In the hovering mother, forever wanting to keep her child in a protective bubble. In the working mother, taking these minutes to respond to just a few more emails, eternally locked in the Sisyphean struggle toward work-life balance. In the lonely mother, anxiously making eye contact with any adult who will hold her gaze. Their role as mother is most visible in this setting, but I know they are more than their relationship to others. I try to imagine what I don't see, what I can't see, the people they once were, their prior selves nestled at various depths below the surface, the freshly independent adolescent navigating the adult world with the grace of a stumbling toddler, the increasingly confident young professional negotiating the corporate world just as she once steered her way through the social hierarchy of her high school's hallways, the grown woman struggling to let go of the false narratives she had absorbed as truth, the grieving woman forever reconciling her befores and after, her luck and misfortune. I wonder, are we lucky if we escape life with soft skin and minimal layers? Or are we lucky to have the battle scars that show a life of survival and meaning? I don't actually know any of these women's stories, and they don't know mine. My perceptions are a self-reflection of my own past identities, experiences, and relationships. Once upon a time, while sitting on one of these very park benches, I had planned for a life very different from the one I now lead. For years, I felt that life had been stolen from me, but it was never mine to begin with. Control over anything beyond what we can emotionally or physically manipulate in the current moment is perhaps life's grandest illusion of all. A breeze rustles the tree leaves, bringing with it a familiar chill. I'm surprised to see how low the sun now hangs in the sky. Both are reminders of how fleeting and precious my favorite day can be. Anessa, it's time to go, sweetie. Anessa resists, running from me, fully in the present without thought or concern for what is to come or what has come before. I begin to walk away from the playground, a signal to my willful preschooler that I am serious about leaving. Mommy, she yells from behind me. I turn and smile, waiting for her to run up to me. She slips her hand into mine and I give it a reassuring squeeze. As we head back past the birds, the budding trees, and the turtle-lined creek, I remind myself how too often I fail to appreciate the beauty around me. But not today, this almost warm, favorite, lucky day. And now I bring my husband, Miguel Cervantes, back for a little conversation, a little chitty chat.
Yeah. Hey. Well, so this is the abridged version. This is the transition song. All right, right. Dear Theodosia, what to say to you? You have my eyes, you have your mother's name. When you came into the world, you cried, and it broke my heart. I'm dedicating every day to you. Domestic life was never quite my style. When you smile, you knock me out, I fall apart, and I thought I was so smart. You will come of age with our young nation. We'll bleed and fight for you. We'll make it right for you. If we lay a strong enough foundation, we'll pass it on to you. We'll give the world to you, and you'll blow us all away. Someday, someday. Yeah, you'll blow us all away. Someday, someday.
Now, if you go to my Instagram, you will see a video of our son, who is now 13 years old, singing that song with his dad.
He said, "I'm going to come on the book tour with you, right?"
He was very pissed.
He was
He'd
like,
sing
"No."
it with we live in Maplewood, New Jersey, and we did the first stop on the tour was in Maplewood, and he got up and sang that song with his dad, and it was just like the sweetest thing ever. And then he was like, that was actually really fun.
I think we were pretty good.
I think I should come with you.
So Kelly,
Yes.
let's talk about the title,
Oh, okay.
The Luckiest.
Yeah.
Now we all know that probably is talking about me and our marriage,
Yeah.
and the fact that I messed up my joke.
You messed up the joke.
I messed up my joke. That you get to have me around. But other than that,
Yeah.
tell us, what does this mean?
Yeah. Well, luck is a concept that I have long thought about and struggled with and tried to make meaning of in my life, because I do feel like I had a lovely childhood that was very secure and stable, and I think actually gave me the foundation that I needed to be able to emotionally respond to what would come in my adult life. But because of that, I always felt like I was so fortunate and so lucky. And then, you proposed while singing "The Luckiest" by Ben Folds, so there was that piece.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. See, it is because of me.
It is because of you. Which just sort of gave me a really fun through line to pull through the book and reflect back on. But and there's a moment where I talk about it in the book where we were sitting. So Miguel played Hamilton for 4 years in Chicago, and during that time, our daughter was very sick and passed away. But I would post these pictures on social media of like us at the 50-yard line, because you're seeing the national anthem at the Monday night Chicago Bears football game, or throwing out the first pitch at Wrigley Field, or he's on the front cover of Chicago Magazine in this gorgeous picture with Lin-Manuel Miranda. And people see that, but what they didn't see behind the scenes is me leaving the hospital to go watch him throw out the first pitch, and leaving Adelaide in the hospital for the first time by herself with like an entire nursing staff. But like, as far as I was concerned, she was on her own. And then at the Monday night football game, I'm texting with our babysitter, who has to be a nurse, about how many seizures Adelaide has had since I left the house. Or, I see the magazine with you and Lynn on the magazine rack at the pharmacy as I'm walking out with the latest anti-seizure medication, which probably isn't going to work. And so there was this wild duality that so many people were unaware of. And then it sort of all came to a head for me. It was, so we moved back to New York. They offered Miguel Hamilton in New York, and then the pandemic happens. And then it's the first performance after Broadway has reopened after the pandemic. And I'm sitting in the audience, and I have Jackson, our son, next to me. And on the other side of me is this like I don't know her, but she's like some musical theater student, and she is just like over the moon to be there, and she's so excited. She realizes that Miguel is my husband, and then that just like sets her off even more. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, you guys are just so lucky." And in my head, I was like, "My daughter died 2 years ago. I am not lucky. You shut your mouth." I said a lot less nice words in my head. And I like my like vitriol at being called lucky was so intense. And so I really struggled with that. And ultimately, through writing this book, came to this realization that this concept of luck and what we determine as lucky is really so much based on perception, right? It is based on what we allow people to see in those little squares on Instagram. It is based on the moment of time that we're looking at in that theater after Broadway reopened after the pandemic. It is all based on what we see, what we're allowed to see, and the time frame that we're looking at. And so I think that we can really it's all about how we frame our lives for ourselves as well. And like I do look at my life and think that this is a pretty great life that we have now. But all of the things, but even amidst that, being Adelaide's mom, even though I only got to, physically be her mother for 4 years, I still feel like the luckiest woman and the luckiest mom in the world that I got to be her mother, and that I got to care for her, and I got to know her, and I got to learn the lessons from her. And so while I don't think many people would look at my life and be like, yes, that woman is definitely the luckiest, I'm certainly not the unluckiest. And there are many capacities within my life that I truly do feel like I'm the luckiest if I slice the perspective one way or another.
I think,
and you, of course,
and
you.
me,
absolutely.
The part, my half of that story, exists in, I think back in the old days, there was a book that was called Rockets and Parachutes.
Yes.
Right. And it was about,
I think that was the middle version that didn't
of
ever.
this story. And I talked about being in the show, feeling like there was like this rocket pulling me in this way to do these unbelievable things, like out of my wildest dreams, about a musical theater kid, right? And this is what I want to do, and us as this young couple being able to go and experience this life, but for this parachute dragging behind of two parents of a sick child, and trying to navigate that can be really difficult to walk into a theater. And I, for my part of this story, would get to leave and walk into the theater and put on these clothes and put on a microphone and escape into this other world, while she was living this whole other life that I didn't know, like from 7 o'clock at night, from 6 o'clock at night to when I got home, that I wasn't part of. And I would always say, when I finished my job, like I would get an applause and people would just clap and hoot and holler. But I was like the Cervantes that needs the applause. But I was back at the house, and so I'm glad that she's finally getting a lot of that recognition. But to speak about that, like, we were in this place where we could talk about this, and we could partner with organizations and talk about these things. And this terrible thing would be said sometimes by people that we love, and it would be said. I say that in like a nice way, but it's really hard to hear sometimes, where someone will say, "Oh, well, this is the reason that happened."
Everything happens for a
Everything
reason.
happens for a reason, and here we are able to. And I'm like, I don't know if that is the line I'm going to toe here. And so that idea of reason, I think, became super important to us and to her, and a lot of what's going on and the words that she's been able to share. So talk about that. Talk
Yeah.
about where that has led you.
So Yeah, we quickly decided that we do not believe that things happen for a reason, because I think that's bullshit. And there is, there are some things in life that happen, and there is no reason good enough for some of the things that happen to us in life. Like I unsubscribe. However, we did come to the conclusion that we can make the reason out of the things that happen in our lives. And so we were, actually, if you purchase a book tonight, there will be 2 bookmarks in all of your books. One of them is from an organization called Cure Epilepsy, and we actually have some representatives from Cure here this evening if you have more questions. But Cure Epilepsy was an organization that we became involved with very early on, and actually really gave my life purpose in all of this, because I had gone from being our family's primary breadwinner. I was coordinating and selling events for Tom Colicchio's restaurant group one day. And then Miguel books Hamilton. I was supposed to be the director of sales for another restaurant group.
Sugar
the following
Mama,
week.
Sugar Mama. Official title.
And he calls me while I'm at my going away party for the Tom Colicchio job and says, I got it, the job. We're moving to Chicago. And I was like, oh, fuck, I have to go tell the other job that I'm not going to be able to take it. So I literally went overnight. I went to bed and woke up a stay-at-home mom / caregiver / all of the things. And it was such an adjustment. It was so jarring. And moving to Chicago and not knowing anyone and having a sick kid and all of the things. And then I get introduced to Cure Epilepsy, and all of a sudden my life had meaning and I had a purpose again. I had goals. I got to be Kelly again, because when you're in the hospital with a sick kid, it's Mom, how are you? Mom, what's her baseline? Mom, can I get you anything? When I was with Miguel at events, I was Miguel's wife, even down to like my dinner table place name. It would be like, Mrs. Miguel Cervantes. And I'm like, guys. But when I'm volunteering with an organization, I get to be Kelly. Yes, I'm there because of Adelaide, but I'm Kelly when I'm there. And that was so important to me and my sense of self and my sense of identity. Cure Epilepsy is the largest funder of non-governmental epilepsy research in the country, if not the world. And I am just in this day and age when NIH budgets are being cut left and right. It is more important than ever that we are supporting medical research nonprofits, because they are literally keeping lights on in laboratories that would not otherwise be able to stay open. And so Cure Epilepsy is a phenomenal organization that I am so passionate about, because Adelaide had epilepsy and it is so significantly underfunded in the US, let alone the world. The other organization that you'll receive a bookmark for is called the Undiagnosed Diseases Network Foundation. I sit on the board of both organizations, so I am just smidge biased. But the UDNF, their mission and goal is to support families and patients who are undiagnosed. So what a lot of people don't understand is that you don't always go to the doctor, run a couple tests, and you get your diagnosis and you know what's wrong. There is a whole slew. In fact, 2/3 of people with epilepsy never find out why they're having seizures. But there's a whole slew of other people who have to go on these long diagnostic journeys. We never knew during Adelaide's life why she suffered the way that she did. We actually donated her brain to the Undiagnosed Diseases Network, and 4 years after she died, we finally got an answer. Her diagnostic journey took 8 years, double her life. And that is wildly unacceptable for any, so if you think of like another child or an adult or anyone else, we have got to figure out ways to shorten this diagnostic journey and make these strides. And the UDNF is working with patients, with caregivers, to try and help shorten that process, help make those connections to the doctors, to the treatment centers and facilities, to help them find a diagnosis for the patients, so that they can potentially then also fund treatments. It's not just about getting the diagnosis, it's also about finding treatments and pushing science forward in that way for rare, ultra rare patients. So those 2 organizations are the ways that that we make meaning out of all of this. Like, it's never going to be enough, but if we can move the needle a little bit, if we can make life better for another family or bring awareness in some way to some piece that, or raise money, there are QR codes on the bookmarks. If you are feeling so inclined and generous this evening and would like to make a donation, it would be very much appreciated. But that helps make meaning. It helped build, Hamilton is so much about legacy. It helps us build a legacy for Adelaide and keep her memory alive, which we do in our home. Her pictures are everywhere in our home. Jackson, on his cell phone, he has his lock screen is a picture of Adelaide and Anessa that he's like cropped together, even though they were never both in our family at the exact same time. They're together on his cell phone lock screen, and then you open it up and it's a picture of him and his girlfriend, but whatever.
We're there.
We'll focus,
We're there.
We'll focus on the lock
We're
screen.
there, people.
But then even Anessa, even though she came into our life 2 years after Adelaide passed away, she has her own relationship with Adelaide, which you'll read about in the book. And it is just so wildly beautiful to be able to see her memory carry on in our family in such a beautiful way. And I also hope that because grief is so universal, because we don't get out of this life without experiencing loss, that perhaps the way that we have been able to keep Adelaide's memory alive in our family will help others find ways to keep their loved ones' memories alive in their own families. I have a question for you, sir.
Okay.
I have written about our life, how we met, and some transgressions and some sexy times.
Yeah, get in there.
How does it feel to be written about?
It's funny, like when you read a memory, right? You think I have a memory a certain way, and I read a memory the way she remembers it. It's like, wait a minute, who's right here? Probably not me. But it's interesting to hear a perspective of a memory or a thought that, like I said, I kind of said it before, but there are things about sort of your life that I know. But I don't think I like. There was a little bit about the I'm go in a deep hole here for a second. I knew that it was difficult, right? I knew that there was a time that we were having problems, not us but as sort of the caregivers, as the Hamilton guy and the mom navigating this thing. And I remember it as a time, like as a moment. And when you read about it, you remember it as being so heavy. You know what I mean? And I think that is what caught me mostly off guard, is how we carried this heavy load every single day, like every day. And it wasn't, hello. It didn't feel extraordinary. It didn't feel, and I'm like, I was like, did we do that? Did you do that every day?
Every day.
And that to me is one of the most moving parts of it, to say that was what normal became and how heroic a life that was. The part of how we met, I'm not going to go into it too much, but there was possibly some shenanigans on my part. I just want to know. I want you to know it's fully accurate. That part is true, and guilty. So when
it was so funny. He had a girlfriend when we met.
Okay, all right.
But when it's early in the book,
it's early. I'm okay. All right.
Well, clearly we made it. But it was so funny when I was writing. He's like, "Are you going to put that in there?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "But what if she finds out?"
What if she reads it?
I was like,
"Well, it was 20 years ago.
It's been 20 years, I think." And she's like,
"She's over it."
I think it's okay.
But mostly I think that it confirms, like, you know, the role of my life that I sort of hold on to a lot is this Hamilton role, and it's been sort of ingrained into who we are and how we interact with the world. But I am really sort of excited about the role of proud husband, as I get to sort of take a step back and watch her do her thing. So that's what really makes me the most excited.
I'm not going to lie. I really, really enjoy
Yeah.
when he gets introduced as Kelly Cervantes' husband.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh God, it feels so good.
So who else? What do you guys want to know? What's happening? What's the burning questions you have about?
I felt like throughout the book there were these themes of you guys having to be in like fight or flight. There were so many times in Adelaide's life where it was like sudden, urgent. You're like looking for a place in Chicago and you're calling her being like, we're going to the hospital. Now that part of your life is not here, do you find that same fight or flight or that like fear carrying on?
I did for a long time after Adelaide passed away. I would have panic attacks in the line at the grocery store, and I couldn't figure out what was triggering them. And I eventually realized that it was because, and I would have them too, like if I was getting my nails done. It was any time that I was somewhere where I felt like I'm in line and there's someone behind me and there's someone, or like my nails are getting done, like they're wet and I can't. It was anytime I was doing something where I couldn't immediately just like pick up and run. And because I lived my life with my phone ready to drop and go at any moment for whatever she needed. And so that carried on for several years after she passed away. This like anytime I was locked in somewhere, I was like, oh God, like what happened? What do I do? What is my exit strategy if I have to get out? Now I feel like my kids bear an unfortunate brunt of what is my really fucked up life perspectives, because I'm like, are you seizing? Are you breathing? Do you have a fever over 105? You're fine. You're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. And like everything else, like it all sort of pales, and which is not fair to not really fair to our children. My daughter had the flu and she had a temperature of 102, and I'm like, meh, you're fine.
And Wendy was there. She's like, I'm taking her to the ER. I was like, no, you're not. Give her some Advil. Give her an iPad. She's going to be fine. Call us if it's happens tomorrow too. I think that's true. Like that what I was just saying before. You know, you think about what your normal was, and what feels important, what feels serious, what feels so heavy now is not, doesn't have as much weight, though. To make sure that, you know, giving sort of when something is sad. I tell my daughter all the time. I said, look, there are things to cry about, and there's not things to cry about, but crying is okay. You know what I mean? Crying is okay. Not about the iPad, but to make sure that it is given space to make sure that even though the thing, like we were just hanging out with some friends of ours today who have a daughter, and who is in it. They're in it, and just thinking,
she's significantly disabled. She's 9 years old, and they've just put her into hospice. She has a neurological condition, very like similar to our situation with Adelaide.
And that's a great question. Thinking of like that's what it was, and that's what that fight or flight. And he was in conversation with us about this and that and the other thing, and doing these unbelievable things. Like as if it was.
But everything that we did, there was nothing there that we hadn't done.
Exactly like we had done. I was like, wow, it feels like this, you know, looking at it, watching it, but knowing it's not. Knowing that becomes just
every day.
Yeah. And there was a weird part of me that was like, I remember that, and I kind of missed that.
Yeah.
And I don't want my daughter to be suffering, but I do miss her, you know, and so it's a weird
caring for her. Yeah. Jack.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when you were in that position, as a caregiver, as a mother, as a wife, husband, etc. Kelly, what were your kind of escapes, or how did you find them and incorporate them into such a difficult time?
Cure epilepsy was my escape. Going to be like, as ridiculous as that sounds, because it was still the condition that but that was my escape. That because it gave me, because otherwise it was just like sitting on the couch and texting with back in New York City and just connecting with writing. It was starting the blog and connecting with people online and social media and but every escape that I had was contingent on Adelaide's health and Miguel's schedule. Because if he had an event pop up or she had to go to the hospital, then I had to drop everything. So it was very different where it is now, where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go read a book. And isn't that lovely? I'm going to go do a puzzle. That sounds like fun. Like I get to have the hobbies now. And I didn't have them during Adelaide's life. I just did I couldn't, yeah. It was more about just with other people and feeling not alone.
I have a question. So you talked about the title, and you also talked a lot about grief and dualities. And so I'm just curious, and I hope this isn't a tough question, but I'm wondering if you ever acknowledged the kind of, from her perspective, that she was the luckiest to have a mom like you who was so devoted, because not everybody would have that. And if you've looked at her lens.
Thank
for what
you.
Are.
I have not. But now I'm going to cry. No, you're good. No, it's so sweet. I believe that 90 to 95% of the people who would be in my position would do very similar to what we did. How I cared for her. Like, I don't feel like, I honestly, truly do not believe that the way that I cared for Adelaide was that much above and beyond what any other parent who has a disabled child, how they would care for their child. We had a platform and a microphone to talk about it, and people cared what we were doing and what we had to say because he had long hair and wore tights on stage. And so, but it's the truth of it, right? Like, people cared. And so we got to go on the news and the Today Show and talk to Al Roker and be like, hey, look at this life, look at what seizures can do, look at all of the, and yes, isn't this cool that he gets to go and sing on stage every night? But I truly believe, as I know, I meet these other families and I see what these, and we got to cut corners to get into doctors. There are some pieces of this that was easier for us. I think about the families out there that don't have the means and are struggling with subpar health insurance. I think about the families that don't speak English as a first language or who aren't taken as seriously because of the color of their skin. And all of these things, we had all of these advantages. I was already functioning at just on something that is extraordinarily difficult, but I was given all of these extra advantages. And so perhaps Adelaide was lucky to have us. But I genuinely believe that families across the country are parenting and caregiving in very, very similar fashions, and they just don't have the platform or the time or the choice to share about what their daily life looks like.
I can just add on that. Even though you had the platform, and had some, perhaps ends to different treatment, your effort, your pursuit, your complete commitment to seeing it through because of the love you have for your daughter is different. Mm-hmm. And I can see it across so many families, and so many families, caregivers try their absolute hardest, of course, but please don't lose sight of just how unique you both were to caring and giving the utmost love to your daughter.
I mean, look, I will say this. We had advantages, but there are people who have lots and lots of money and lots of access that don't make it, I think. So it's a testament to us and her, and as the primary caregiver, you say, oh well, parents are going to figure it out. I'm like, I'm so glad it wasn't me that had to figure it out, because what she did was, I was terrified if she had to go away for a night or an afternoon. And she's like, did you give the meds? I was like, I don't know. I think so. I read the list. I did the thing. And so, oh, hello. Get on in here. But to say that the work that we did to make sure that we were okay, I think is important on her. And then to say Adelaide was lucky to have us, but the fact that she needed us, keep it. I don't want it. You know what I mean? I don't want her to need us like that. And so she was unlucky. And so there's no real way to define, I think, what it actually means, but that we get to sit here and talk to you, and she gets to make this amazing thing is a way to leave something behind that and call it whatever you want. Call it whatever you want. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Want to sing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just have to tell you that I am so impressed by you as an author. I think you're a little
Listen.
way out there.
Shiny object. Shiny object.
But what most impresses me as a therapist, as a grief therapist, as a bereaved sibling of many, many years, is what you have done as a couple. And I know how difficult it is caregiving. Lots of times resentment can build up.
Yeah.
Might be something you know about.
Yeah, just a smidge. There might be a couple chapters about that.
And also the fact that humor has survived
Yeah.
in this relationship. I just have to tell you how impressed I am about that. And the second thing I have to tell you that I'm impressed about, because I just love it, is when we're able to make meaning with relationships and continuing bonds in the field, that's what we call it. And that both Jackson and Anessa have a relationship with Adelaide. Because I think those are the pieces that are missing in many families, because we don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
And people are afraid, or they're afraid that we're going to make somebody unhappy, or we're going to make them sad. And I think it's exquisite that the kids have that with their sister. So congratulations to both of you. I know this is not easy, but this gal from Boston is really impressed by it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Well, with that, the word oruguita means caterpillar, and a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. The word mariposa is butterfly, and the change that has to happen is, in fact, with their end result's beautiful, but to get there, seems pretty difficult. Seems pretty involved and heavy. But sometimes, in order to get to the beautiful, you have to go through the hard. And so this is called Dos Oruguitas. Dos oruguitas enamoradas pasan sus noches y madrugadas llenas de hambre, siguen andando y navegando un mundo que cambia y sigue cambiando, navegando un mundo que cambia y sigue cambiando. Ay, oruguitas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, aparte volver. Hacia adelante seguirás. Vienen milagros, vienen crisalidad. Hay que partir y construir su propio futuro. Oh, 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 oh. Dos oruguitas desorientadas en dos capullos, bien abrigadas, con sueños nuevos. Ya solo falta hacer lo necesario en el mundo que sigue cambiando, tumbando sus paredes. Ahí viene nuestro milagro, nuestro milagro, nuestro milagro, nuestro milagro. Ay, mariposas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, aparte volver. Hacia adelante seguirás, ya son milagros. Rompiendo crisalidad, hay que volar, hay que encontrar su propio futuro. Ay, mariposas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, aparte volver. Hacia adelante seguirás, ya son milagros. Rompiendo crisalidad, hay que volar, hay que encontrar su propio futuro. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you, everyone who fought traffic. I know traffic was terrible. If you were on Sunset, I guess it was terrible. Please buy this book. Her other book is called Normal Broken. This is her second book, in case you didn't know that. Her other book is available all over the place, and where books are sold. But this one's available right here. Thank you, Zibis, for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, come say hello to this amazing woman.
Yay! Adelaide.
Adelaide, it's called Adelaide.
I know.
As a book of Adelaide.
Yeah, no, I noticed it just, and then yesterday we were in San Diego, and the restaurant across the street from the bookstore was called Adelaide. And I was like, okay, baby girl, I see you. You're letting me know I'm where I'm supposed to be. Isn't that so cool? Oh my God, I know. I saw that. And now I need to read that book. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. And I feel like we were very lucky
Yeah.
to have you both here with us tonight. And
Thank
we do have
you.
more copies of the book. So please come up to the register. I'm sure they'll be happy to sign.
Yes, of course.
Come on down.
All the
Come back
things.
soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.